Welcome to our question and answer session about the Psych Mental Health Nurse Practitioner program here at Frontier Nursing University. Um, I'm joined by some of my colleagues that work here at the university as well, and you'll get a chance to have them introduce themselves to you. But we would first like to thank you for coming out this evening to talk about and to learn about our PMHNP program here at Frontier. So thank you so much for making time for us, and we look forward to an engaging conversation. My name is Dr. Kevin Scalf. I'm the department chair for the Psych NP program here at FNU. Again, I would just like to welcome you to the program question and answer session. And if you have questions, by all means, um, you can either put your questions in the chat or you can just unmute yourself and ask questions as well. So feel free either way that you're comfortable. We want to make sure that you leave here this evening with the information that you need. So be sure to speak up if you have questions. For my colleagues here on the call, if you want to introduce yourself and just kind of talk about what you do here at the university.
Hi, my name is Jamie Wheeler, and I'm one of our clinical advisors here. So I'll be talking you through my role in a little bit, but I'm here to help you and here to help you along with your clinical search. And I'm also going to be monitoring the chat. So I've got my catalog open and ready. So feel free to put any questions in there and I'll do my best to get those answered. All righty, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ava Bumbu, and I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Manager.
Thank you, Ava. All right. Anyone else? I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Okay.
Oh, me. Hi.
Yes, there you are.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Martha, and I am part of the admissions team, and I'll be helping with any questions in the chat.
Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, so we can get started then. So I've already introduced myself. Dr. Susan Piper was unable to be here this evening. She's in travel, but she asked me to also really make sure that you know that we have, we're more than willing to answer your questions. We're always available to answer your questions, and she just wanted me to extend her warm welcome to you in this presentation. I'll get it out in a minute. So Dr. Susan Piper is our clinical director here at Frontier. We're going to talk in a few moments about how the curriculum is kind of structured. Here at Frontier, the didactic content comes first. So you take all of your didactic content first, and then you start clinical. So Dr. Piper oversees the clinical portion of our program. You will no doubt have some interaction with her as you progress through this process. But like I said, she wanted to convey her deepest regards to you this evening. So this is a picture of our new campus on the Versailles campus. We recently moved from our old campus in Hyden, Kentucky, in Eastern Kentucky, to Versailles, Kentucky, which is about 10-15 minutes from the Lexington airport. And one of the things that you see here in this picture that I think is just really remarkable is you can see students and faculty alike enjoined in a circle. Now, this is something that is a tradition here at Frontier. After we go through a day, whether it's been classwork, whether it's been simulation, whether it's been orientation sessions like Frontier Bound, at the end of each day, we like to come together as a community. And we like to reflect on the things that we've learned during the day, people who we've met during the course of the day, and we really just want to hear from you. So it's really an opportunity for you to be a little vulnerable, You don't have to participate if you don't want to, but we really do value this sense of community here at Frontier. Everyone is important, and once that you're part of our community, you're always part of our community, and you have a home here at Frontier. I tell students a lot that you're more than just a student number or a student ID at Frontier, but we consider you a colleague of ours, and we want to mentor you and coach you, and we want to develop a relationship with you. Even though we're a distance online education program, we value that relationship that builds over the period of time that you're with us. And students often tell me that when they come to campus, they're so glad they did because they met people who will help support them. So you learn to support each other through relationships and friendships that you make when you come to campus. And so I think community building is so important because in an online teaching environment, it's just really easy to start feeling very isolated. You feel like that you're just kind of, in cyber sometimes, and we don't want that for you. Even though we're not a bricks and mortar institution in the traditional sense, we want to deliver online distance education for you, but also we want to develop relationships with you. And one thing that I think you'll find with our faculty want to hear from you. Faculty want to engage with you. And so it's not just about posting a bunch of information in a learning module, but we really want to engage in good teaching and learning. And we want to help you achieve your goals and your ambitions. And so I think that's really something that sets Frontier apart. It's been something that we have held as a cornerstone of our existence ever, I guess, since the 1920s when Frontier Nursing Service first began. So we value you as a person and a member of our community. You see also here our mission statement at the bottom of the slide. Our mission is to provide a high quality education that prepares nurses to become competent, entrepreneurial, ethical, and compassionate nurse midwives and nurse practitioners, to work with all people with an emphasis on rural and underserved communities. That's our mission. That's what drives everything that we do every single day at Frontier. So I just wanted to show this slide to talk about the mission, but also I wanted you to kind of see the community building that we engage in. As a part of going through the orientation sessions and being on campus. We really do value each other. So Frontier has been doing distance education for a long time. Like I said, Frontier Nursing Service started back in the 1920s, but we've been doing distance education for a while now. And one thing that you will hear as you become more familiar with Frontier is the culture of caring. Now, this goes along with a little bit of what I was talking about a few moments ago when we talk about community, but this culture of caring really drives us as part of who we are. It drives everything that we do every single day. And it's more than just a name, it's more than just a bunch of words, but it includes a set of values that everyone holds dear to their heart. And basically, what the culture of caring is we care about each other, we respect each other, we want to help support each other. And we want to be there to, celebrate the good times, but also circle around you and help support you when times get difficult or rough. That's just part of who we are at Frontier. And that drives everything that we do every single day. So as you become more familiar with Frontier, you will see this culture of caring lived out in the way that people interact with each other. It's what we're all about. The other thing with Frontier is you get to use your community as a classroom. Now, what do I mean by that? Once you accept your offer of admission, you go to an orientation session called Frontier Bound. That's where you learn about your program, you learn about the university, you get to meet some of your colleagues who are also beginning their educational journey. You meet the faculty, and you just leave the week inspired, connected and ready to start class. Then you go back into your community, you go back into your home, and you begin your didactic coursework. Then, after you finish your didactic coursework, you come back to campus one more time to engage in something we call clinical bound. This really helps you to put everything together in a safe environment so that you feel confident about going off into clinical. And then once that you start clinical, we want you to be able to do your clinicals in your home community. You know the demographics of your community. You know what the opportunities for improvement are in your communities, as well as the strengths. And so I think it's really important that you get to gain that clinical experience within your home community. So that's one of the beautiful things about Frontier and distance education. And so you get to study from the comforts of your own home, but you do get to travel to beautiful Versailles, Kentucky, um, for your orientation and some workshops to help prepare you for clinical. Lexington is very beautiful as well. It's the horse capital of the world, if you've never been here. And we're really close to the airport. But it really is a beautiful location in the state. So we want to offer, again, this distance online education to you, but we want to offer it in a manner that is intimate. And what I mean by that is we want to get to know you. We want you to get to know us. And we want to be able to engage together and give you as much, if not more, engagement than what you would get in a regular bricks and mortar institution. A little bit about the history of the psych mental health nurse practitioner. We've been around for a while, but really the emergence of the psych NP started in the early 2000s, really. The first certification exam covered only adults. And so for a period of time, there was only an adult option. But around 2003, 2004, the programs of nursing began to offer across the lifespan certifications. And so around 2003, 2004, that's when we've seen the ANCC endorse and across the lifespan psych certification, where you can see infants all the way up into older people in the geriatric population. And so that came across in the early 2000s. A little bit later, psych NPs gained more prescriptive authority as time went on and as the shortage of psych providers began to rise. The role of the psych NP became more autonomous. Now, there are some differences, of course, state to state with the role of the psych NP and the scope of practice of the psych NP. But as far as your scope goes, you can diagnose, you assess, diagnose, treat, evaluate mental health disorders in a variety of different locations. And in the most recent few years, we're starting to see psych NPs work in more areas. And so the work environment has kind of enlarged and diversified, so to speak. We see psych NPs working in hospitals, emergency rooms, the school system, the correctional facilities, outpatient treatments. We see a lot of growth where it comes to the employability of psych NPs. Also, we also see more psych NPs become more involved in integrated practices where they have maybe primary care with a psych service line so that a patient can get that whole continuum of care provided to them by one particular clinic. And so in today's environment, we all know about the shortage of psych providers. We know about the demand for mental health providers. And so that has enabled us to really step up as nurse practitioners to meet the needs of the people, especially in rural and underserved communities. I think psych NPs, as well as nurse practitioners in general, we have a documented, long-standing history of delivering high-quality care that patients can appreciate. So we've really came a long way over the course of a few years. Right now, we have alumni that practice in all 50 states and in some foreign countries. So Frontier has been able to leave a pretty large footprint across the nation as our graduates are just stepping up to meet the needs of the community all over the country. So we're really proud of the work that they're doing. I said before that we've done education for a long time online. We have almost 100 years. I guess we do have 100 years now. We recently celebrated 100-year mark, but we have that many years of experience in nurse midwifery and family care. And you may start to think about, well, where does psych fit in with that? I think it's very pertinent to both nurse midwifery, but also family care, because anywhere you have people, there's a need for mental health, no matter where you're at. And so I think we just need to remember that mental health is just as part of everybody as a physical condition would be. Everyone's mental health needs to be valued, and the better the mental health, studies have shown, the better the physical condition a lot of times. We do have students and alumni that represent every state in the country. Right now, we have more than 2,500 students enrolled at Frontier, and we're really proud that we have over 10,000 graduates. Here you can kind of see a picture of some people at graduation. So again, we're really proud of the footprint that we've been able to create, but we're even more thankful for the work that's being done out there to help meet the needs of the communities. Another thing that I like to talk about is the certification exam. Once that you graduate from Frontier, you apply for certification. And every year we get a report card from the ANCC, which is one of the certifying bodies that gives you that national certification. And we look at first-time board pass rates. And we're really proud of ours because you can see listed there around 99% of our MSN students and around 96 to 97% of our postgraduate certificate students pass the certification exam on the first try. We're really proud of that because the national pass rate for that particular exam is around 90%. So our graduates have always consistently exceeded the national average in every domain of that certification exam. And I think that speaks to not only the quality of the program, but I think it speaks to the quality of the faculty as well. Faculty in our program love to teach. They love to interact, and they really love being around students. And so I think this speaks to their exceptional dedication to helping you achieve, your goals and ambitions. So we're really proud of these numbers. So when you graduate from Frontier, I think you can feel confident and secure that your curriculum is strong, and that you'll be well prepared for entry into practice. Any questions at this point from anybody? Okay. So let's talk about student support. I think that's a really important topic. So like I said before, students are really the cornerstone of everything we stand for. We're here to help prepare you for entry into practice. Some of the support systems that we have in place here at Frontier consist of regional clinical faculty members. These are the faculty that you will begin to become familiar with when you enter the clinical environment. Your regional clinical faculty person will supervise your clinical experience. They come out to visit you in the clinical facilities. They maintain contact with you. You meet with your clinical faculty at least every couple weeks, if not more. And they also touch base with the preceptor, and they're there as a support system for them as well. Academic advisors and clinical advisors, you're going to hear from Ms. Wheeler here in just a few moments, but both clinical and academic advisors are here to help you navigate which courses to register for, what kind of process goes into that, and they have so many questions that they help students with. So there's a great sense of support with our advising staff. We also have online student mentoring programs. I think that's important as well. Remember, it's really important for that sense of community. We want you to not only get an education, but we want you to build relationships and get support that you need as you get this education. And so we have online student mentoring groups. We also have financial aid and scholarships available. Our library, you'll find, I think, is very robust. And then we have student interest groups as well. If there's something that you want to join and start to socialize into those groups. Those are just a few things that we offer at the university. We really want you to become socialized into our community so that it can be your community. And like I said, we want you to get an education that you're proud of, but we also want you to make friends, develop relationships, and really just grow as a person and as a professional. I often say that graduate education should change you in some way. It should change the perspective from which you view the world. And we want to help you grow like that, as well as get the education that you've set out for. So those are just a few things that we offer as far as student support. As far as scholarships goes, I mentioned that just a few moments ago. We do offer scholarships. They're available during the spring and fall term award cycles. There are some eligibility requirements, however. You must have at least 24 credits earned with FNU to apply for a scholarship. There's a GPA requirement you can see there of 3.25 or greater. And the scholarships really vary in the amount that they offer, but we have over 20 scholarships available. And in 2024, we awarded nearly $1.7 million in scholarships. So we know that scholarships are important, and we want to do everything that we can to continue that and to grow our scholarship programs. So when you get a moment to kind of check out the portal page, look at that part about scholarships, and you can click on that box and it will take you to that homepage to where you can read more about that. Ms. Wheeler, do you want to talk about clinical outreach and placement?
Yes. Hi, everyone. So my name is Jamie, and I'm one of our clinical advisors. And our work with you really starts from day one. So when you come to Frontier Bound, which is your orientation, you will go through many, many different sessions, everything from financial aid to working with your academic advisor, to scheduling. But one of the sessions is specifically about this clinical piece and how to navigate that search process. So we are with you from day one. One of the things we teach you about is one of our main resources called our Frontier Community Map. And basically, you will have access to this large database, which has over 16,000 sites in it. And it's always evolving as current students are adding sites, but you will have access to this system where you can see where past students have done their clinicals. And we really do have clinical sites all across the United States. So we will teach you how to use that resource, how to navigate that. So in addition to working with you and meeting you at Frontier Bound, I am also available to meet with you individually. So all day long, every day, I meet with students one-on-one about their individual situations. I know everyone brings a different life story to the table, and we're here to guide you through that piece. And then another thing our unit does is we put on group advising sessions too. So if the thought of meeting with me might feel intimidating one-on-one, you can come to a group session alongside of your peers. And I just finished those for this term, but that's a good way to, kind of listen into a presentation, kind of like this style, and, really hear what are questions your peers have. And it's a good chance to share feedback with each other. So feel free to email me if you have any questions, but I will be here through the session, and we're happy to work with you. All right. Thanks so much.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Wheeler? Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wheeler. A little about our achievements. These are just a few things that we're really proud about at the university. We are a national leader and in DEI and a 7-time winner of the Insight into Diversity Higher Education Excellence and Diversity HEED Award. We have also been recognized as a great college to work for. We've been recognized with that honor in 21, 22, 23, and 24 as a great college to work for. We've also received the 2023 Award for Inclusive Excellence, Belonging, and Sustainability in Nursing Education from the American Association of College of Nursing. And also FNU was named the academic honoree for the 2024 Healthy Work Environment Award presented by Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society of Nursing. Those are just a few things that we really are proud of here at the university. A lot of work has went into these recognitions. And again, I think it really just speaks to the dedication of faculty and staff and students that make our community such a strong force in the country. Let's talk about degree options. So we offer a Master's of Science in Nursing and the MSN. We also offer a postgraduate certificate for students that are already APRNs that want to come back to get their psych specialty. And the university also offers a Doctor of Nursing Practice program as well. As far as the timeframes go, we are on a term system. We have 11-week terms with 2-week breaks in between. For an MSN student, it's going to take you around 2 to 3 years, depending on how fast you matriculate through the program. For the postgraduate certificate student, it's around 16 to 24 months. So those are kind of like the average length of programs here, whether you're a master's or a postgraduate. The DNP program is around 18 months as well. So we do offer the MSN degree, but also we have a postgraduate certificate program. We have quite a few PGC students that come back to get their psych specialty because they see the need of mental health care in their community. And no matter where you work, you're going to see mental health, right? Whether you are a nurse midwife, whether you are a women's health nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner, if you work with the community and you work in healthcare, you are going to see patients who have mental health needs. The literature tells us about 1 in 5 adults struggle with mental health problems, and about 1 in 6 children and adolescents struggle with mental health issues. And so it's very prevalent across our country. And we see more and more of our PGC students coming back to obtain the psych specialty because they want to be better able to serve their population. Admissions criteria into the MSN program. Of course, it's an RN with a current active license, bachelor's degree in any field, a 3.0 cumulative GPA from your highest nursing degree, good academic standing in your prior educational experiences, and we also require 1 year of RN experience from the time that you're going to be entering into the program. Our PGC admissions criteria, of course, RN with a current active license, master's or higher degree in nursing, at least a 3.0 from your highest nursing degree. And we do require that you already be an advanced practice nurse in one of these specialties that we have listed here. So you can kind of see those. One thing that I do want to bring your attention to on the bottom left hand of the screen, due to state regulations, we are unable to accept students that are from New York, except for the DNP program. Now, you can still live in New York correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Wheeler, you can still live in New York and go to Frontier, but you would have to do clinical outside the state of New York. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
And so we want to eventually be granted the ability to have clinical students in New York, but the Board of Nursing, as I understand, only looks at that every so many years. And right now, it's not a time where they're really looking at expanding any of their programs. So that's why that we can't do clinical in the state of New York. So that's just something to think about if you are living or are a resident of New York. Any questions about anything that we've talked about so far? Okay. Feel free to interrupt me if you guys have questions. All right. Martha, do you want to talk about application deadlines and things?
Yes. So there currently the applications that are being accepted are for fall 2025. The application deadline for fall 2025 will be June 25th, 2025, and the course year begins October 6th, 2025. And the winter 2026 term, applications will be accepted starting on June 26th. And the coursework begins September 24th, 2025. I'm sorry, the coursework begins January 5th, 2025. The application steps would be completing the online application, submitting an essay, a resume, transcripts, a portfolio for non-BSN students or applicants. And I do have to mention that you will also be completing a proxy form so that FNU can request official transcripts on your behalf. The current tuition is $733 per credit hour. And I will be adding a link in the chat just in case if anyone has questions.
Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
One thing that I will say about the portfolio for non-BSNs, sometimes we have students who have a bachelor's degree in some area other than nursing. And so those students, let's say they have a bachelor's degree in psychology, but they have an associate's degree in nursing. So the portfolio is for those students. And basically what you do in that portfolio is you write some essays and speak to certain questions that we want to know more about you. And you get a score based on that. And that's how we process your admissions application with that. So the portfolio for non-BSNs, that is for registered nurses that have a bachelor's degree in another field. And we do get those quite often. So clinical experience requirements. Let's see. So with the clinical experience requirements, right now, 750 clinical hours is what's required. That's for both MSN and PGC students. That was recently increased, and it was increased because our accrediting bodies and certifiers, as well as the National Organization for Nurse Practitioner Faculty and the National Task Force all endorse 750 hours. So this is not like a kind of like a frontier thing, but this is a nationwide movement. And it's what's going to be required no matter where you go to school at in the country. And so that's a little bit of a background about why that those hours were recently increased. But it's the same for MSN and PGC students, 750 clinical hours to be able to sit for your certification exam. We're also seeing some state boards of nursing also require at least 750 clinical hours to obtain a license. So I think there's a national movement for that 750 clinical hours. And so we're just, we're offering that because of that, that movement from our accrediting bodies and agencies. These are just a few people that you will become familiar with as you progress through Frontier. Dr. Piper is right below me on the right-hand side of the screen. We have course coordinators and course faculty as well. Each didactic course has a course coordinator that kind of oversees the course, kind of manages the course, and then we have course faculty as well. We want to make sure that we have enough faculty in each course to meet the demands of the students. Because remember, at the first of the presentation, I talked about we want to engage with you, right? And so that takes faculty. So we really look at workload very carefully, and we want to make sure that we have enough faculty in the course to give you a good experience. The regional clinical faculty will become involved when you start your clinical practicum, and they will oversee your clinical hours. Your academic advisors, your clinical advisors, you're going to meet pretty soon because they will be such a big help to you as you navigate course registration and talk about clinical and that sort of thing. Financial aid officer is an important person. And then we also have a credentialing coordinator. The credentialing coordinator helps manage the contracts that we have with clinical sites. They make sure that the contracts are still good, they're not expired. We work back and forth with the clinical sites. And if you have a clinical site that we've never used before, our credentialing department can reach out and we can develop a contract with those particular people as well. So the credentialing office is very involved in getting you ready for the clinical experience. Some pictures of our Versailles campus. On the left-hand side, top row, you see the dining hall. In the middle, we have like the president's house. The last picture on the right, top row, is the welcome center. Bottom row, left side, you see kind of a snapshot of some of the student dorms. In the middle on the bottom is just a wider view of our dining hall, and then there's the sign when you first come into campus. We're really proud of this campus. We moved here around 2020, 2021, and we're so proud of this campus. It really is a beautiful place. We have walking trails. There's a 24-hour fitness center that you can access anytime. We have a reflection center. The dining hall is open 24/7 for drinks, snacks, and that sort of thing. We just want you to feel at home here while you're getting your education and developing some relationships. And so I think that you'll really love our campus, and it's very convenient. It's only about 10-15 minutes from the airport in Lexington, which helps tremendously. Any questions about the role or the life of a psych mental health nurse practitioner? Anything just burning in your mind?
I have a question. I kind of want to know what a week or a couple weeks of coursework looks like as far as the classes and if it's doable for somebody to be working full time and be a full-time student at the same time.
Yeah, great question. So I think it is possible for sure. A lot of it is organization. I think that really is the key to success. Staying on top of assignment due dates, building in time for your studies, building in time for your work, but also building in time for you and your family. I think that's a really important facet. We understand the need for a work-life balance at Frontier. That's a real thing. Everyone has a life outside of graduate school. You have a life outside of your work. And so I think to be mentally healthy, we have to have a balance of all of those aspects, right? So I think part of this success is just organization, really making sure that you build in time and develop a schedule. I tell students to develop a schedule at the beginning of each week. Write down what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how long that you're going to work on it. Because what gets scheduled gets done most of the time. So it really does help for that. As far as like the workload of the courses, it depends on the credit hour of the course. 1 credit hour and the didactic courses is about 50 to 60 clock hours. Okay. And so it really depends upon what type of credit course that this is. So let's say if you had a 3 credit hour course and you have 50 clock hours for each credit, that's about 150 hours that you would spend in that course throughout the term. And remember, our term is 11 weeks. It is doable. People do it all of the time. Um, it is, I think you'll find that the program realizes the need for work-life balance, and you can always, slow down if you need to. If you start off taking, let's say, 6 credits a term, and you realize that's too much, you can kind of slow down if you need to, if that's too much for you. Also, Frontier offers an academic hiatus to students. Now, an academic hiatus is something that you can take where you just take time off from school if you need it. Let's say that you're going into the summer term and you have a lot of stuff going on just in your life. You can take an academic hiatus for the summer term and then come back in the fall. So Frontier offers that. We also offer an emergency academic hiatus. That can be taken at any point in time in a given term. If, let's say, some type of life tragedy comes your way and you really just need to step away, we offer an emergency academic hiatus as well. You can take up to 2 academic hiatuses every 365 days. So that's something that also that Frontier is built in, because we realize that life happens and sometimes we really just do need to focus on ourselves or our families sometimes. That's part of a graduate education, I feel like. Does that help?
Yeah, it really does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question. Um, how long is the orientation and the clinical bound that we have to be on campus for?
Yeah, great question. So Frontier Bound is the orientation to the university, right? That's where you come to campus after you accept your offer of admission. Um, that is about you come in, let's say on Monday evening, and you leave Wednesday afternoon. So it's around the equivalent of 2 days, give or take a few hours. So you come in Monday evening, we kind of welcome you with a welcome session, and we start the week off. The day 2 is a full day, and day 3 is a half day, and you're usually dismissed and going back to the airport by 1 p.m. on that 3rd day. That's the initial orientation. Clinical bound, that's when that you finish your didactic coursework and you come back to campus to really practice putting everything together. That's a bit of a longer immersive experience. And so you come in on Monday evening again, and you engage in simulations during pretty much the majority of the week. You get feedback from your faculty. You really just take the role of the Psych NP. We have standardized patients. So they're professional actors that really portray the role of patients. And you see patients all day long, back to back, and you really just do feel like that you've been in clinic that day. But we do that a lot during the course of the clinical bound week. And the clinical bound week wraps up Friday at 12 p.m. So it is a bit of a longer week, just because we're doing so many different things. But clinical bound comes in on Monday evening and you leave at 12 p.m. on Friday. I guess that was a long way of answering your question, but does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I think you really will enjoy clinical bound. Like I said, we have professional actors. You'll find that they are really good at what they do, and they really don't break character. Each patient brings a different type of energy to the room, just like that you would see in a clinic day. and you get a clinic schedule at the beginning of the day, and you see patients, and you get feedback from the faculty, from each other, and then also from the patient. How did it feel to be a patient in your office today? And you get practice within a safe environment to diagnose, treat, evaluate. These are just your patients, and really you just treat them like that you're in clinic today and they've come to see you. At the end of the week, students really do, I think, feel more confident, but they've also had an opportunity to really do a good self-assessment and find out what they feel good about and also what they need to improve upon before they go off into clinic. And it's all done within a safe environment. So students typically really like the clinical bound experience.
Dr. Scaff, we have a question. Can you talk a little bit about the asynchronous nature of how the coursework is put together? I think that's always a good topic. Thank you.
Yes, very good topic. So we're online distance education, right? So a lot of our coursework is asynchronous. At the beginning of the term, you will have a syllabus when your course opens, and that syllabus will contain the assignments, the due dates for the assignments, and it will also contain links to the asynchronous lectures and learning activities that's within each course. A few of the courses do have some live requirements, but you're made know they make sure that you know about those dates and times well in advance. And so let's say the course opens up week 1, those live sessions will be later on in the term where you'll have really good advance notice. And most of the time, if there is a live session, you can sign up for a date and time that kind of works for you. If you're doing some type of group project or you're doing some type of presentation or whatever, you can go in and sign up for a day that works well with your schedule. So you're made aware of any live learning sessions pretty far in advance, but we do have the asynchronous lectures and learning activities as well within the course when it opens. Our learning management system is Canvas, and so that's kind of where the course content will be located. Faculty also have office hours, and that's just kind of where that you can kind of log in and meet with your faculty one-on-one about something. It would just be like stopping by a faculty's office in a bricks and mortar institution. So we have that as well. We're always available to meet with you. If you need something and you need to schedule an extra appointment, let's say with a faculty member, you just email them and you set up a time to meet through Zoom. But a lot of our learning, especially the lectures and other kinds of learning activities, it is asynchronous because we're all on different time zones. We all have different lives. We have different schedules. And the beauty of this online delivery system is that no matter where you're at, as long as you have internet capability, you can engage in your coursework. But that's going to look different for everybody. And again, we recognize that everyone has busy lives. And so that's why I think the asynchronous model is so beneficial for everyone. We've been doing this for a long time. And I think it really is the best of both worlds. So I hope that answers your question, but if there's something more specific about the asynchronous sessions, let me know and I'll do my best to answer that. What else? Okay. Any admission questions? I think I've seen some things in the chat. I think Martha's kind of answering some of those. So if you do have admission questions, please, speak up or type it in the chat.
I have an admissions question.
Okay.
So for the fall semester, how many applicants do you typically get and what's your acceptance rate?
Great question. So our acceptance rate, that's we really calculate that on like a 12-month thing. They're in the process of calculating the last 12 months, but so I don't know specifically what the last year's acceptance rate is because that varies. I will say that we have rolling admissions, and we have about 103 seats that we fill each term. And so we do accept around 103 students for each term, and we have 4 terms a year. We have winter, spring, summer, and fall. So in the course of a year, we accept a little bit over 400 students. We also have sometimes we have a waiting list, and maybe if you don't get accepted for, let's say, the summer, you're put on a waiting list for the fall. And so we really work hard to get you a seat at the table, so to speak. But we really take in we accept 103 students per term.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other admissions questions? Okay. Any clinical placement questions? There's an email there, clinical advising at frontier.edu. That's a really important topic. We tell students to begin that clinical search very early, as soon as you come back from Frontier Bound. We always encourage students to start their clinical search. You're not alone in this. We do want you to succeed in clinical. We have that community map that Ms. Wheeler talked about, where you can look at places that we've used in the past. Your regional clinical faculty is also a good resource person because oftentimes they're regionalized and they know about clinical sites, potential clinical sites, maybe in your geographic area. So we want to help you with this process. You're not alone by any means, and so I want you to know that. But it is important to start the search early. Martha, there's a question in the chat about the wait list. Are you able to speak to that?
Yes. For the wait list, from what we understand, students will be placed in the same pool for the upcoming term, along with other applicants for that new term. For example, if they are waitlisted in fall 2025, they will be considered in the same pool for winter 2026.
Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
Finally, I will leave you with a quote from Marva Collins. She's a very well-known educator that made a lot of progress with developing school systems. And basically what she says is success doesn't come to you, you go to it. And I think that's something important to really think about. Sometimes we shortchange ourselves and we feel like that, well, I don't know if this is the right time for me to go back to school. I don't know if I can be successful. I've got too many responsibilities. But look at the things that you've accomplished in your current career. You can be successful. It really is just as simple as that. We're here to help you be successful. We want to help coach you, mentor you, and give you the support that you need to be able to walk across that finish line at graduation. So we will help you become successful. Any other questions from anyone? I'm going to stop sharing. Anything at all? Okay. Miss Wheeler, do you have anything to add?
Well, there's a question about, finding sites and how's that going to work. I would just say, we start this process early, and that's why we're meeting with you at Frontier Bound. And I would say, you really do have to understand that you have to be an active participant in the search process. We are not assigning you a placement. We are here to help you, to guide you, to be a shoulder to lean on. Ultimately, it is the student's responsibility. If you're in a very rural area, maybe you don't know any PMHMPs, you might be thinking now, okay, I may have to travel a little bit, or I have to be willing to expand my search radius. On the other hand, if you're in a really busy urban area where there's a PMHMP school on every street corner, then those students are going to be your competition. So it's all about getting yourself out there early. And we have lots of we have lots of tricks up our sleeve for this process. But just knowing you have to be an active participant, I think is good common sense to know right now.
Thank you. I also see a question in the chat about exams. Are there proctored exams, and do you have to pay additional fees for taking those exams? So we do have a proctored exam platform that we use to do proctors with, but there is no additional fee for that. The university's paid for the software, so you just log in and take your exam. So there's no fees for that.
I have
Okay.
a question about lecture.
Yes.
Is lecture consist of a previously recorded lecture or just reviewing slide?
So lecture is a combination of some different things. That's a great question. So you will find lectures that have been pre-recorded about certain topics, right? So when you look at the lecture, it's the instructor and they are presenting information about the topic of the week. That, of course, varies from week to week and from course to course. One thing that you will also find, though, is the lecture looks a little bit different sometimes depending on the content that you're really working with. Some content is very appropriate, I think, to have a PowerPoint presentation and the instructors on there, and they're just going through the material, they're talking through it and helping you to kind of unpack some of that. Other areas of content, there's other learning strategies that are more appropriate for that. So those types of live lectures may be things like evolving case studies. Maybe there's some types of games that we play where we split the class up into two groups, and we kind of manage the content that way. And so the method of lecture, I think, depends upon the content that you're working with at any point in time. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And that's the same thing too for exams. Not every course will have exams. Some courses, they use exams because that's appropriate to the content. Other courses, there may be other assignments that take the place of exams. And so I think each course is different. We have to show that you've mastered the course objectives. Exams are good for some courses, but other courses, exams, I don't think really are the best way to show mastery of the content. So you'll see some variation in that too from course to course. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for making time out of your day to spend an hour with us to talk about the psych program at Frontier. It's really been a pleasure to talk with you. I appreciate the questions, and we really look forward to seeing you. If you have questions after that you hang up from this call, please feel free to email or contact any of us on the call. We're more than happy to connect with you and help you get your question answered. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great evening.